it like this, you're not going to learn anything about what it's trying to tell you. Your vision is too narrow. But how convenient for Western European science. How convenient. Please don't get your views from Western European science. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to dismantle that with this thing. From the research I do with my heritage, and the Mayas, and even Comanches, we're trying to dismantle this sort of Western European way of addressing our ancestral knowledge. So here's the 4 dots right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've blown it up here for your convenience. And I told this young scientist that I worked with when he was young, Andrew May, I said, will you cut this part of the painting out and superimpose it between the city of Austin and the city of San Antonio and see what you get? And this was the result.
Oh, wow.
Okay? I forgot San Antonio Springs. I missed on San Antonio. But San Antonio Springs is regarded to the blue hole in incarnate word because it erupted with water. It was a fountain. Unlike all the other springs, including San Pedro, I'm sorry. All the other springs, Comau Springs, San Marcos. And you see how the 2 dots in the middle are closer to each other? Our geologist is so brilliant that even though these 2 locations were closer together, because of the landscape, the rough landscape between the 2, it would take you just as long to get across from those 2 springs than it did the other ones, because of the terrain. It would slow you down trying to get up and over everything. That's the brilliance of geology. That it teaches you, it's not a linear. You know, the landscape of Texas is not just a flat road, man. You got to get over this escarpment, get over these mountains, you got to do this or that.
One thing, what's the last spring at the bottom?
San Antonio.
San Antonio?
That would be the headwaters of the San Antonio River on the University of Texas, University of Incarnate Word campus. So, when I was a board member of the headwaters of what I just talked about to preserve the blue hole and the remaining acres. The Congregation of Sisters of Incarnate Word had a ministry called the Headwaters, and I was a board member. There was a transcript that the nuns shared with me and said, Gary, this might be of interest to you. That this paper called the Dave Orchard transcript in 1962 says that 5 Ponca Indians were witnessed visiting the headwaters of the San Antonio River and in 1924 performing purification ceremonies. The Poncas said that every peyote collecting season on their trip from Ponca City, Oklahoma to Laredo Territory, at 4 places on the way they had to stop and perform different ceremonies. But that this one at the Olmos was the most important. So now we know that those 4 dots are those 4 springs because they were on the path of these pilgrimage of Poncas coming through. There's more evidence on that property. One of the reasons why we eventually turned that property into a conservation easement is because there's more evidence of indigenous presence there for thousands of years. Similar, according to Peyote the Divine Cactus, on the Huichol Peyote pilgrimage, the route is carefully prescribed by the leaders because the group must stop and perform ritual activities at certain critical places. One of the most important of these cities, these sites, is Tatairi Matinieri, the sacred lakes or watering holes, where, quote, our mother dwells, our mother, at which offerings are made. Okay? The morning water in the peyote ceremony, those translation. Mother water, that's what is. Mother water, now, with this thought, singing, singing. So the Huichol are doing the same thing in Mexico that our Ponca brothers and sisters are doing here. And then the song that we sing here in Texas is about the same mother water back in Mexico, right? So far, Boyd's doing a pretty damn good job of identifying the Huichols tied to that, tied to those waters, tied to their pilgrimage. But why though, if you look at the evidence, why is the White Shaman Mural a map of Texas? If the study that's being on this painting is being done in Mexico, where are the Huichols from? Where are the Aztecs from? Where are they from? If this is a map of Texas, and they're only using Mesoamerican research to interpret. Okay, this is where we want to get into the Mesoamerican conversation here. Never mind who I am or where I come from. This is where I want the conversation to go towards the Datsante. It's important that y'all try and see it the way that we see it, but they don't want to get into a discussion of where does Mesoamerica fit into this whole thing in Texas? If it's a map of Texas, then it pertains to Texas. Does that make sense? Pues pertenece aquí también, raza. Here's this arc in the equinox there. This arc of light shines over the White Shaman Mural. And in Dr. Carolyn Boyd's book, she says that this arc right here with the sun rising up on top is called, in her book, called the Hill in the East. This is Huichol, her interpretation is Huichol, a hill in the east. And I'm gonna bring this image to the top right and show you what it looks like. I'm just trying to give you a better glimpse of what this really looks like. If the painting is clearer, the light encompasses literally the entire area of the hill in the east at equinox, right? Remember, he's using Huichol or Mesoamerican interpretations of this to describe the hill in the east. If you take this painting literally, the story that's being told here by Dr. Carolyn Boyd, if you take this was the first sunrise, folks. The first sunrise in the east, ever. Because that's what the White Shaman Mural is telling you. It's telling you the story of the first day, the creation of the universe. Once the sun kills the deer, the morning star, and the peyote falls to the earth on its antler time, that was the beginning of time. Okay? So there has to be a location of where that, if the White Shaman Mural is a map of Texas, there has to be a location of where that hill rises to the east. It's in San Angelo, Texas. If you take this story literally, the last time the sun rose dead east in the Milky Way, which is part of the astronomy, the last time the sun rose dead east in the Milky Way at winter solstice was 6,000 years ago. So that story that you're hearing Dr. Carolyn Boyd talk about, the birth of time, the birth of peyote, the birth of when the heart of the deer is converted by fire, happened. That story began 6,000 years ago. Okay. And so, my relatives and I, we gather every year at spring equinox or fall equinox, and we watch the sun come up, and we sing to that sun, and we sing to that first sunrise. Every previous peyote ceremony you've ever been in, no matter where it took place, when that sun comes up and you sing, hey, what did they you sing that song, that sun rises 6,000 years ago. Every sunrise and every peyote ceremony you'll ever sit in has that tenet at that moment can be traced back to that view 6,000 years ago. Am I making sense? of technical here, so bear with me. During the winter solstice, the sun sets between the two buttes at Gatesville. Now we're in Gatesville, Texas. We're no longer in San Angelo. So San Angelo is about here, and Gatesville is over here. Okay, I'm going into the academic paper that we wrote, so forgive me for the sudden shift. During the winter solstice, the sun sets between the buttes of Gatesville along the direct line to the exact area in the lower Pecos where the White Shaman Mural is located. As the sun sets in front of the mural, the light projected on the shelter rises upward to the neck of the White Shaman image. The light comes up. I'll show it to you here in a second. Right there. The light, as the sun is setting that day, the light comes all the way up to her neckline, right? And in effect, is decapitating her. She's a moon goddess. The sun is cutting her head off. Okay? The reason why this happens at winter solstice, the reason why is because all the way up until the day of winter solstice, the moon has pretty much been the highest thing in the sky. So when the sun sets that day, on the fourth day of the year, when the sun sets that day, he decapitates her. And then her head becomes, from being the highest thing in the sky, to becoming the lowest. So the sun is essentially taking her power away from her by cutting her neck off. And saying, I just killed you, Miss Moon, and now I become the king. For the next 6 months, I become the highest thing in the sky. So, here's the sun setting here in front of the painting, and here are the views at Gatesville, up there, right over there. That's a straight line. So if you're standing in front of the painting, and you're watching the sun come up and cut her head off, in a straight line in that direction is the buttes at Gatesville. Y'all with me? The very instant that her head is decapitated, the moon rises between the buttes at Gatesville. You with me? So, hundreds of miles away, you got the decapitation of the moon goddess, and 100 miles back in the same direction, the moon is coming up over here. So we're talking about a decapitation of a moon goddess. What is it in your Mesoamerican culture do you have? You're not scientists. Surely there's a danza devoted to something like that, no? Anybody? Oyotochtli. Wow. ¿No lo sabes? ¿Estás de acuerdo? Oyotochtli. Cuando le cortas la cabeza, la diosa se hace la luna, es Oyotochtli. ¿Estamos de acuerdo? Sí. I'm almost done, by the way. Oh. That was for you, brother. Thank you. You're not too far away from the actual. You're closer to that than you are to looking at. No, you're getting closer to both. Anyway, real important. You see the buttes in San Angelo here, the buttes in Gatesville here? Look at that straight line. All the way across. At equinox? Look at that, man. What are we looking at? We're looking at the first temple of the sun. The first temple of the moon. At least 6,000 years ago. And that's not geological time. That's just when the story was beginning about this Venadito, about the beginning of the cosmos. Okay. You taking that in? Mesoamerica is a lot closer to home than you think it is. Imagine that Mesoamerica comes all the way up this way to Dallas. And then you're a Lanzante. And then Coyoshaki's here. Right? Coyoshaki. Okay. The very center of those two views, the line that I just showed you, is considered, and my geologist doesn't know why, is considered the geographic center of Texas. Well, who decided that? And my own geologist can't tell me why that is. By the way, he works for the Cherokee tribe of Oklahoma, makes $100+ a year, helping them clean up. They're contractors with the military to clean up Air Force bases. When they shut these airports, you've got all this fuel and these tanks and everything. The Cherokee tribe of Oklahoma goes in and cleans up all that mess. Joe was actually the one who cleaned up Kelly Air Force Base when they finally shut down. If you all remember 30 years ago. That's Joe, Geo Joe, I call him.
Gary, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you guys do ceremony in Gatesville?
We try to avoid that
Okay.
because not too far from there is the Medicine Wheel at Fort Cavazos at Fort Hood. And we don't want to feel like a threat to the people who go there. This is our territory, this is our turf. You know, what are you doing way over here, man? Says you belong over there. But we want to stay away from the politics of gatekeeping and who's getting it, who's more deserving, or who's announcing God. Those are just childish attitudes towards knowledge that belongs to all of us. This gatekeeping bullcrap, and thank God it's going to go. I have to say this, and please forgive me one more thing. That generation that created this mess, one day is going to be gone. Yes, sir.
I don't know if this is something that you have coming up in the talk, but I was wondering if there was an explanation as to how the ancients were able to determine that you had these two views where one ends up being the temple of the sun, the other one ends up being the temple of the moon, and that they just happen to be almost in the same sort of line from each other.
That is the most powerful question that's ever going to come out of this room today. Yes, we know why. Because we did our homework. There's this place called Paint Rock, Texas.
What's it called?
Paint Rock.
Paint rock. Paint rock.
And there's a woman painted on the wall, and she's laying towards the west. Her head is laying towards the west. And the solar interactions with this woman gets her pregnant. She goes through her first trimester, her third trimester with interaction with the sun. And then finally in the 9 months, the last interaction with her is she gives birth to twins. Where do we know that in Mesoamerican pantheon of God? Is there a changing woman that gives birth to twins? Is there a god or goddess? Anybody?
The Maya have the twins.
Mayas have the twins.
Okay, Maya.
Quetzalcoatl and Xolo are the twins.
Okay. Anybody want to contest that or throw popcorn? You have to come into agreement, folks, about what we're looking at. Have these conversations among yourselves. Because as far as I'm concerned, there is no real Mesoamerican approach at Tejas to embracing what this is. Because it belongs to everybody as far south of Mexico and as far north as Dallas. It belongs to you all too. Yes, so on the day, it happens only every 19 years, Ruben. On the day that she dies and the sun sets in the west, on that day, the sun rises between the buttes over here, and the following evening, the moon rises between the buttes over here. So the twins are being born from their temples.
That's every 19 years?
Every 19 years. It's coming up, 2029. 2029, you'll get to see and live through that phenomenon if you want to be there.
So I guess the question that I was trying to ask is, did they observe the phenomena in one space, and then as years went on, they said perhaps there's an equal and sort of mirror position in a different direction that we
Yes.
can find?
The next few slides will explain some of that,
Okay.
but it takes observation of hundreds or even thousands of
Right.
years to make these relationships.